Dr. Upinder Dhar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. Dr. Santosh Dhar, Convener, Pravah 2K21 and Coordinator, Shri Vaishnav Institute of Journalism and Mass Communication, Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. Heads of institutes, heads of departments, faculty members, students, and dear participants. On behalf of Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, I feel privileged today to welcome you all from industry and academia to the valedictory session of Pravah 2K21, the fifth National Media Conclave on the theme Role of Digital Media in Cultural Transformation. I now invite Professor Shivli Desarkar to present the event report.
Good afternoon, everyone. After all the hard work and efforts, we have come to the end of our fifth National Media Conclave, Prabha 2021. In the inaugural session, after virtual lamplight and welcoming of the guests, Conclave Chair and Coordinator Sri Vaishnav Institute of Journalism and Mass Communication, Dr. Santosh Dhar, gave an introduction of Prabha. Honorable Vice Chancellor Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Dr. Upinder Dhar, gave welcome address wherein he told about the effects of digital media that is happening on our lives and how in future this will keep changing and keep advancing. In the lieu of SVV Bulletin completing 2 years, the e-edition of the bulletin was launched along with an introduction given by one of our student members of SVV Bulletin, Ravendra Kevlani. The first speaker of the inaugural session, Mr. Rahul Dev, ex-honorary advisor, Speakers Research Initiative, Parliament of India, told the students to be prepared for both good and bad situations in the media field. While working on the field, they should try to increase the good that is happening and decrease the bad works happening around them. As future journalists, they have a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. The second speaker of the inaugural session was Mrs. Nagma Seher, anchor and journalist at NDTV India. She said that digital media has taken all over our lives. This has both good and bad effects. It all depends on how we are using the digital media. This digital media has helped to boom the small scale business. Talented people are getting a platform to showcase their talent that too free of cost. But on the other hand, because of this digital media, the speed of spreading of fake news has increased a lot. The inaugural session was concluded with a Q&A session and a thank you note by Ms. Seema Uike, convener Prabha 2021. In the first plenary session, there were two speakers. The first speaker, Dr. Sumit Narula, Director, Amity School of Communication, Gwalior, talked about fake news and digital media. He told the students about softwares such as PeakFinder, Photo Forensics, which helps us to do fact-checking and differentiate between fake news and real news. In the current time, we must be aware of these softwares since the rate of fake news has increased a lot. The second speaker of this session was Mr. Sahil Murli Meghani, journalist, TV correspondent, Mumbai. He emphasized the fact that digital media is the goldmine for journalism now. Everything has turned digital. It has made the borders disappear. We can watch whatever is happening around the world in real time on our mobile screens. Advertisers are now shifting to digital platform for their revenues. He told everyone to be tech savvy as it is the call of the future. Session chair of this plenary session was Dr. K.N. Guru Prasad, master of the ceremony was Dr. Amit Joshi sir, and rapporteur was Ms. Ritika Sharma. Day 2 of Prabha started with the second plenary session. The first speaker of the session, Sarvapriya Sangwan, journalist at BBC Delhi, started her session with appreciating for choosing this theme in Prabha as digital media is a very important part of the society today. She stated that with increase in digitization, our attention span has decreased. Today, we have many options open in front of us, because of which we are not concentrating on one thing properly. She also talked about how the increase in usage of level of internet affects the human mind. She concluded her speech with the question that this internet was supposed to provide equality of knowledge, but is that really happening?
Actually, एक छोटा सा
The second speaker of the session was Shadab Nabi Kazi, producer at Times Now, New Delhi. He talked about how this digital age has made us a product. We are helping big companies to earn money, and it is up to us how much we will be used by them. He said that the digitization has given us many things but taken a lot from us as well. Today's generation is completely dependent on this digital media, which is not very good, and we have to see to it that we check our usage of digital culture before it destroys our basic culture. The third speaker of the session was RJ Siddhant, Radio Mirchi, Raipur. He said that we have witnessed a big transformation in the past year. If we did not have digitization of media, it would have been very difficult to pass the lockdown period. It has been a big help on the mental health of every individual during the lockdown period. It is a very proud thing for us that we have adapted this new technology so nicely and so quickly. Online mediums have helped a lot in maintaining the workflow during the pandemic. He also said that a lot of job opportunities have come up because of this digitization, which is a very good thing. The session chair for this plenary session was Dr. T.K. Mandal, master of the ceremony was Ms. Supriya Gupte, and the rapporteur was Dr. Nasreen Ansari. In the last valedictory session today, we have with us our special guest, Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari, propounder of Sadharnikaran model of communication, who has joined us from Nepal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shivli ma'am, for the wonderful event report. I now invite the participants to share their feedback about the event. So, Mr. Sumanyu Goyal, if you can please unmute yourself and share with us your experiences.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Continue.
Yeah, I, Sumanyu Goyal, even though belong to a non-media background, I attended this 2-day conclave, Prabha 2021, and I found it quite interesting and enriching. On the whole, every speaker was phenomenal and imparted invaluable knowledge. I specifically found two speakers, Rahul Dev sir and Nagma Seher ma'am's debate on digitization, quite enriching. It's wonderful to see and ironic actually to see how digitization, even though is a boon, can also be a bane for someone, for some organizations, some people. So on the whole, it was very good. Thank you very much for holding such an.
Thank you, Sumanyu.
Yeah.
We also have Miss Ishita Mongia. If Ishita, you can unmute and
Good afternoon, ma'am.
hi.
My name is Ishita Mungia from United College of Education, Greater Noida. Firstly, I'm glad to say that I've got this opportunity to attend that wonderful webinar. It was quite long, but yes, it was very knowledgeable for us. Rahul Dev sir's speech was very attractive to me. He talked about we are digital connected, but we are alone now. Like for digital network, we have become extroverted. By in the real life, we are still introverted. Through digital media, women help to raise their voice. Earlier, they were suppressed by the male dominant. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ishita, for sharing your experiences. Now we have Mr. Nawed Khan. Would you like to share your experiences? Yeah.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Good morning, ma'am. I am Naveed Iqbal from United College of Education. First of all, I want to thank all the support staff to make this event successfully possible and my faculty teachers to giving me this opportunity. It was very nice event and so much knowledgeable. It was quite long but interesting as well. Yesterday, Nagma ma'am beautifully explained the benefit of mobile journalism, about how people get benefit after the digital India and how newsroom changes nowadays. It was quite knowledgeable and interesting and so much to learn there. There was so much things to learn throughout the event. I once again thank you everyone for making this event truly happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Navid. Now let us have the pleasure of listening to closing remarks by our dynamic, versatile and inspirational mentor, Dr. Rupinder Dhar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore.
Chief guest on this occasion, Shri Adhikari ji, Namaskar. All the delegates, guests, my dear young friends, students connected to this connected to this webinar from various institutions. At the outset, welcome to all of you. This 2-day Pravah is coming to an end, but then every end is an indicator for new beginnings. We have been organizing this event, which we have named Pravah, for last 5 years now. This is the fifth season of Pravah, because it's an annual event. Here the intention or the objective of starting this Pravah, as I mentioned yesterday also, has always been to discuss the topical areas, the emerging areas, and create an opportunity for the students and faculty to interact with eminent experts in this discipline, in this field, that is journalism and mass communication. Since yesterday, we have been listening to well-known professors and experts in this field, and it has been realized that changes are happening very fast. As we know, change is inevitable. Whether we like or not, change happens. But then it becomes very easy to accept change if we plan it properly. And journalism, mass communication, which is one of the very important disciplines, is not an exception. In journalism, mass communication also, a lot of changes have taken place in the past, and currently a lot of changes are happening. The face of journalism is changing. As Rahul Devji mentioned yesterday, that now the future of print media does not appear to be very bright. It may stay, it may be there, it may remain there, but in a less significant way, because we are observing, we are experiencing the digital revolution all over the world today. And COVID-19 has accelerated this process. What we could have done, say, maybe 3 years later or 4 years later, we are doing now. That means in terms of usage of technology. So the objective and also the way information is shared today is changing. It is not the way it used to be earlier. Today, even journalism, mass communication has become more interactive. That is on social media and digital platforms. People interact, which was not so in the case of a print media. In the case of print media, it was one way. Whatever is printed, reader would simply read it, or sometimes express his or her views by writing a letter to the editor. Today, all gates of communication are open. So immediate reactions can be seen on this digital platform, and anyone can express his or her views. So there is more freedom of expression today. At the same time, there are certain risks to this kind of freedom. When we have no controls, no monitoring, no regulations, may be right, may not be right. Say, I mentioned this example yesterday also, the OTT. Today, we are talking about OTT on the digital platform. No regulation is there. And youngsters have started believing that whatever language is used in various products on OTT is right. Sometimes a lot of slang language is used, abusive language is used, because there is no censorship, no regulation. So these are certain risks that we need to pay particularly attention to these areas, particularly the policymakers of every nation. They need to pay attention to that, how to regulate certain things. Point is not to control or gag the voice. Point is to at least ensure positivity in what we communicate. Positivity is very important. Even when we are sharing information, same information can be shared in a positive way. So that positivity element needs to be brought in the media. As the theme itself says, digital media has a very significant role in changing the culture. There is, in fact, transformation is happening. Therefore, when this transformation is happening, it is the responsibility of all the people who are in important positions, all the people who are in important roles, significant roles, to ensure that social structures should not. Social structure needs to be protected, and right information needs to be communicated. So today, as we can see, all kinds of information is available on internet, but every piece of information may not be authentic. Therefore, we need to learn. There needs to be a body which can at least ensure what is authentic and what is not authentic, what is right and what is not right. So efforts are required to be made in that direction. In fact, a model needs to evolve over the period of time so that barriers are overcome and information is communicated in the right spirit, right purpose, and it goes to the right people. So with these words, I am sure that all those who have attended Prava 2021 must have felt benefited. And as I said that, well, we may be having valedictory session, but it does not end here. It is an indicator for the preparation for the next season of Prava, which will happen in 2022. That's why in valedictory, which is an important part of a session, we always ensure that we have an important person as chief guest to give the message that there is continuity. So here is a chief guest, very important person who is a man of great achievements. So message is that continuity. We have to continue. Prava, that's why we have called it Prava. On for new learnings for all of us. With these words, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Today, as our Honorable VC sir has said, we have the rare advantage to have with us as special guest, Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari. Before I invite him to address the gathering, I have the honor to share a short introduction about him. Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari is a prominent communication theorist from Nepal. The Sadharanikaran model of communication, which is in short called SMC, is constructed and developed by Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari in 2003. It is based on the insights from two classical Sanskrit texts, including Natya Shastra of Bharat Muni and Vakya Padya of Bharatrihari. Currently, he is a faculty in Kathmandu University, Nepal. Dr. Adhikari is author cum editor of 36 published books. He has published more than 50 research articles in national and international journals and anthologies. He has also edited many newspapers, magazines, and journals. He has conducted and attended many workshops and conferences. He was the recipient of Muni Chair Research Fellowship of Makhanlal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism and Communication. Now I have I request the technical team to please play the welcome video. Thank you. Now, before I invite Sir to start the session, I request the participants, if they have any queries, I'm sure they will be curious, they can type their queries in the Q&A section so that Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari, after his address, he can reply to your queries. Now, I have the pleasure to invite Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari to please address the audience.
नमस्कार, धन्यवाद.
Thank you, sir.
नमः सभाभ्य सभापतिभ्यश्च. I pay my respect to the Vice Chancellor and all the dignitaries there and all the participants. It has been my privilege to be invited in various programs in India. I have extensively traveled India, east, west, north, south, central parts. And I remember maybe 3 years ago, I was approached by Sri Vaishnav Vidyapith Vishwavidyalaya to participate in a program, maybe Pravaha or maybe another program. But at that time, due to my prior engagements, I could not attend. But I'm happy that now I have attended this program as the chief guest of the valedictory session in Pravaha 2021, the 5th National Media Conclave. So this technology has really helped us to interconnect, to interact, to have communication in real time, like this matter. And I feel so many commonalities, common communication environment, which I'll bring later on as well, between Nepal and India. So while addressing you, I feel I'm addressing my own people, yeah, my colleagues. So thank you, Seema, and all the Sri Vaishnav Vidyapith Vishwavidyalaya family for inviting me, for organizing such a wonderful program. I listened the report, yeah, how it went in the 2-day program. There had been so many presentations, and the participants have been really benefited from that. And I hope this journey will continue. As the Vice Chancellor said, this is not the end, but new beginning. It is invitation for next year as well. So while we talk about the major theme of this program, the role of digital media in cultural transformation, then there are few things to be emphasized. The present time in which we are living, it is beyond the traditional concept of global village as envisioned by Marshall McLuhan. It is not only that, yeah, it is a global village, but it is more than that. And even the concept of network society given by Manuel Castells, it is also changing. So it is happening in such a fast pace that many things are still unraveling. So there are so many researchers, theorists who are trying to understand what is happening. In the history of human society, changes are eternal. They are part and parcel of our lives. But the pace of the change, the speed of the change we are experiencing today, it is unprecedented to our ancestors. So there are various viewpoints regarding this connectivity, this real-time interactivity, and with the advent of this artificial intelligence, yeah, where are we heading? There are some scholars, scientists, let us use the name Michio Kaku, who would say we are heading toward a very, very happy society. Yeah, the technology would solve us, and we will overcome our difficulties. We will be more interconnected. Our life will be more easier, more sophisticated, and so on. And if you turn to thinkers like Yuval Noah Harari, then artificial intelligence and this man-made machines, it seems they would overcome us. Yeah, we would be subjugated by these machines, the technologies, all these things. So we can see both the ways. The research conducted in the field of online media, usage of all these gadgets, they have come up with various findings. Some are emphasizing on dysfunctions of media, yeah, how we are dissociating with each other. We are connected, but we are alienated. Yeah, how anxiety is attacking us, how people are using the digital platforms for hatred, yeah, divisions, even violent plannings, all these things. And there are people who are emphasizing on the functions, the positive dimensions, how social media have become very crucial in generating funds for the needy people, yeah, various philanthropical works, how people away from home are interconnected, yeah, Nepal, India, such countries, they have rich diversity of languages. Sometimes such diversities may work as a barrier. When one moves from one place to another, in earlier times, it was very hard for him or her to get another person of same linguistic background to talk with. But here, with the technology, wherever you go, you can talk to your family, and you can feel connected all the time. So there are positive dimensions as well as negative dimensions. How we use this for business, for politics, and there are challenges. For instance, if we remember Samuel P. Huntington, yeah, who says we are heading toward clash of civilizations. So how this technology, this digital media, this network society, yeah, helping or contributing for increasing this class, or are there ways for further communication, yeah, harmony, and all these things? So if we see, the thing is both the ways. How we use this technology, this is the crux of the matter. Here we have to go to the theory, or let us say principle, or the philosophy which would guide us how to use this technology. And here comes the issue of cultural transformation and the need to be connected with the root. So it is statodynamic. Yeah, we have our own history, For instance, countries like Nepal and India, we have thousands of years of history, unbroken history. And we are facing the new changes. We are connected to other countries. People are coming here. Our people are going there. And a small decision taken by maybe US or China or any other country, that would affect our economy, sometimes our lifestyle. If you go to the Toronto school, yeah, it said the medium is the message. From this point of view, yeah, the digital technology would decide everything. But from our indigenous perspective, the technologies, the resources, the physical environment, all these are means. And how we use this is guided by our philosophy, our culture, all these things. So here lies the significance of my work. Yeah, in my introduction, the Sadharanikaran model was mentioned. The core of the Sadharanikaran model is Sahridayata, Samana Hridaya. So Sahridayata provides explanation on how different communicating parties become able to pervade the unequal relationship, the asymmetrical relationship prevailed in the society, and the process of communication facilitated. Take the example of Europe. The European nations, how were they constructed? The concept of nationality there, it was based on, let us say, ethnicity, or sometimes a common religious denomination. Yeah, but Nepal, India, and even the USA, the context was different. Here, the diversity of languages, castes, in our case, let us say, and classes, the social hierarchies, all these things. So, communicating, if we see from the surface only, was much difficult here due to all this diversity. There, they wanted to create a nation which was already based on unifying factor, let us say language, or sometimes ethnicity, or sometimes religion. So Britain was for British, France was for French only, Germany was for German only, like that. But take example of Nepal, or take example of India. The nation, it inherently involved people of different communities, people of different languages, people of different belief systems, people of different cultural systems. Yet, here is the proof. There is one saying in Sanskrit, pratyacham kim pramana. There is no need to provide evidence for what is self-evident. So we are very old civilization. We are still living, and until very recently, there were no conflicts due to our diversity. It was only after the invasion of external forces, only after the colonization of external forces, that we in our society witnessed clashes, conflicts, communal riots, all these things. Otherwise, we had all these diversities, all these differences, yet we communicated. And we thrived in a very developed society. Without very efficient system of communication, such developed civilization would not be possible. That means there was a communication system rich in practices as well as philosophy, practices as well as theory, which can be proven by our great texts like Natya Shastra, Vakyapadiya, and so many other texts. How communication was envisioned, how people thought over this, how people investigated, did research, and then came up with theories and philosophies. So That was the backbone of our society. We had diversities, but that diversities were well managed. How was it managed? So to provide that explanation, I refer to the term Sarideta. This term Sarideta, the word Saridaya first comes in Atharva Veda. There is one mantra in Atharva Veda which mentions Sarideta. The mantra, the Richa goes like this: Saridam Samanasya Mavidyasam Kunomi Vaha Anyo Anyamavi Haretava Sandatami Vadnya. Before that, this word Saridaya, to come into existence, it took two other words. When two other words were combined, only then this word Saridaya came into existence. They were Samana and Hridaya. And if we go for these two words, then these two words are found in Rig Veda. There is one mantra which mentions both of these words together. Samani va akutihi, samana hridayani va. Samana vastuo mano yatha susahasa. So from there, we get this concept of Sarideta. So this concept of Sarideta later on was dealt by, let us say, Bharat Muni in unique manner. Bharat Muni came up with Rasa Siddhanta. The basic question, sometimes it may seem very complex, but if we make it very simple, the issue was how some message, verbal or non-verbal, expressed by someone would be communicated to another person. Very fundamentally, that was the question. The message may be acting, performed on the stage. The message may be some poetry written by a poet in his or her home, but that has to be communicated. When another person either observes it or reads it or listens it, it should be communicable. That should be understandable. And to explain that, Bharat Muni came up with the Rasa Sutra, and the Rasa theory was explanation of that. If we go to poetics and aesthetics in Sanskrit literature, then we'll find so many scholars, so many acharyas discussing about this and coming up with diverse theories. And there comes another acharya, Bhattanayaka, who was explaining the Rasa Sutra. For explaining that, he came up with the theory of Sadharanikaran. I found many Indian professors and writers very wrongly mentioning that Sadharanikaran theory was there in Natya Shastra. No, Rasa Sutra was there. It is still there. It was Bhattanayaka who came up with the Sadharanikaran theory. But largely it was in the field of poetics and aesthetics. But the very concern of poetics and aesthetics and modern discipline of communication is same. There as well as here, the primary concern is what is the message, how it has to be expressed, and how the receiver would get it, and how senders and receivers would come to the common understanding. That is the common question. So some scholars mentioned in the 1980s that the theory of Sadharanikaran is relevant to communication theory. For instance, J.S. Yadav and I.P. Tiwari, they mentioned that, but they did not came up with a proper, let us say, model for this. And in 2005, when International Communication Association was some scholars there, they were examining, they were assessing the previous non-Western works in the field of communication discipline. They dismissed the previous works from India, from Sri Lanka, let us say from China and Japan, merely as perspectives. But when Sadharanikaran model was constructed, then their query, or let us say their their marker of examination, their assessment, maybe that was made, and it got prominence very soon. So firstly, it was constructed in 2003, but at that time I had written all these things in my own language, Nepali language. It was only in 2009 it was widely published in English, and you can see how fast it got recognition, that so many people from across the world, they started citing this, mentioning this in the so-called mainstream journals and so-called mainstream, let us say, conferences, symposia, all seminars. And in 2016, it is pride for all of us that because we belong to the common heritage, that it was included even in the International Encyclopedia of Communication Theory and Philosophy. By now, it has been translated into maybe more than 30 languages, and dozens after dozens universities, they have included Sadharanikaran model of communication in the curricula. So the modern discipline of communication, it was institutionalized in the USA, especially after the Second World War. So it was inherently biased with the Western theories. Later on, in the era of de-Westernization, certainly they welcomed insights from non-Western countries, non-Western locations as well. But until very recently, there was no particular model that was acknowledged even by the Western universities as the communication model in the mainstream. But now we have this model, Sadharanikaran model of communication, which draws on Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra and Bhartrihari's Vakyapadiya, and we have come up with this model which meets all the standards demanded by them, and more importantly, which inherits all the philosophical tradition developed in countries like Nepal and India. So it is very our own model, yet it has possibility to address even the digital era. So I have come to the major theme as well, and I'm coming to the conclusion. So this model, Sadharanikaran model, and other possible models from our cultural tradition, from our philosophical tradition, they are not something to be referred in the context of the distant past. No, the very basic thing, they are still relevant to the present context. For example, the traditional mass communication media, maybe newspapers, maybe radio, maybe television, they were heavily transmissional. So the sender was there, the owner and the professional communicators, they were very powerful. They were mostly giving the messages one way, and the receivers, either they did not have any chance to give feedback, or the feedback was very few and much delayed. But with the advent of this new technology, after Web 2, and now all these interactivity, artificial intelligence, all these things, now we have come much closer. It was having conversation face to face. We are separated by the distance, but we are connected by the technology. And you can see, we have, in fact, we have conducted a research where people communicate more frankly through let us say Messenger or Viber or WhatsApp, as more than in face-to-face communication. You can think so many things you would hesitate to tell others in face-to-face setting, you send through messenger, you send through WhatsApp. So this shows that we have come much closer, and with these all not only facial expressions but all these emojis, all these things, you have more options to express your bhavas. So bhava and rasa, they have become more relevant today. They were relevant, and in the era of the traditional mass communication media, people thought that non-important. People gave much importance to transmission mechanism, yeah, and the message itself. But now, again, the human agency, the emotions attached with the messages, they have come to forefront. And here we have to realize that, in fact, so many have already realized that the traditional notions of power, the traditional notions of rasa, the traditional notions of sadharanikaran, the traditional notion of sharideta, it has become more relevant. In fact, it has become more relevant than ever. So while trying to understand digital technology, we must not be over influenced by its technology only. We must not be over influenced by the fact that all these things were developed in another societies and we just purchase them. We should not think ourselves just as buyers, consumers, rather than taking this technology as just a means and trying to infuse this with our philosophy, our, let us say, for example, our philosophy of Sarideta. That would be more useful for us. With this, I end my speech at this valedictory session. I again thank all of you, and I would like to, in fact, I appreciate, yeah, the organizers for having such a wonderful program. Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you. It was a very enlightening and important and very valuable insight that you shared. We have some questions, and I invite Professor Shivli De Sarkar to please uh, share the questions with us.
Yes. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, firstly, I feel very honored to listen to you because I am doing a PhD in communication only, and your model is one of the basic theories which I am taking in my studies. I'll put up my question also, but at the end, first I'll put up the students' questions that they have sent. One of our students, Ishika Gaur, is asking, before the advent of communication theory and models, what could be the possible means of communication to masses? Through what sources the news would travel to citizens and what source they use in response to the same?
Okay. This question is primarily related to the communication technology required for the societies. Uh, for this, we have to think on the requirement of the society. When the societies were separated, when people were living in small communities, then their communication requirement was like that. In accordance to the social structure, they had such technologies which were limited in terms of time and space. For instance, we might have heard the oral tradition. Yeah, in oral tradition, if you don't record that, then what happens? Whoever is in the immediate vicinity, he or she would listen that, and the voice would fade off in the environment after a while. But later on, when they thought requirement to preserve that message, maybe they came up with writing, inscriptions, yeah, and ways to preserve that. So this is how. And likewise, when people had to travel a little bit more, Yeah, they were in some distance. Then maybe calling someone with the original voice would not work. Then they might have used the instruments. Yeah, which voice would reach somewhat farther. But if the distance was much more than that, maybe they used pigeons. Yeah, or the society instituted the groups who were professional communicators, the Gandharvas, the folk singers, yeah, the traditional messengers, all these things. But as the population grew, yeah, as the need for interconnection grew, then human society developed newer technologies. You can see the advent of printing machine that was related to the missionary needs of the Christianity and the expansionist need of the capitalist society. Yeah? Likewise, when that did not work, then they came up with the wire technology. Yeah, even that did not work with the pace of the time needed for the society and the technology. They were mismatching. Then they came up with wireless and like this. Now we are separated here. You can see with the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, the use of Zoom technology. Yeah, this medium, it flourished so much. Meet, yeah, we used, for instance, here in Kathmandu University, we extensively used Moodle and the Google Meet for our classes. So all these things, as this social context, social need changed, human society invented the ways, the means, the technologies for that. We don't know in the future. We might have other media which we are not envisioning right now. I think I addressed the query.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is, what is the impact of digital media on interpersonal communication?
So a little bit I had touched earlier as well. If we say interpersonal communication in the context of face-to-face communication only, the instances of face-to-face communication in real might have decreased. But if we include, yeah, the didactic situation where two persons communicate, then I see people extensively communicating much more than earlier. Yeah, every time, yeah, we have this, yeah, phone and we are texting. Yeah, even in the same house, in the same home, you might be sitting in this room or that room. You are communicating through this medium, this equipment, this machine. So for interpersonal communication, there are more opportunities, yeah, with whom you could not have shared your emotions, feelings, ideas, all these things. You are doing that. So there is increased opportunity for that. But is it resulting in functional way or dysfunctional way? Positive or negative, that is another matter, and it depends on media literacy, how literate the person, the user is, yeah, whether he or she can use the technology for benefit or being let us say amused by it and just trying, yeah, just experimenting, and the result would be different.
So the next question is, what is the impact of, or how can Sadharanikaran model help us, or what impact does it have on day-to-day life?
So first we need to understand what model and in fact theory is. The model is in fact illustration of theory. So first let us try to understand theory. Theory is an attempt to understand and describe what is happening in the society. Someone comes with political theory to describe the political process. Like that, this is communication theory. There are so many communication theories which is describing how communication happens. But once the theory is made, it serves 4 functions. Yeah, it is based on the data. Yeah, something should be prevalent there. It is ex post facto thing. Yeah, we observe, we get data, we analyze that, and if it has sufficient reliability and validity, if it has much broader base of application, then it becomes, let us say, theory. Once it becomes a theory, it does 4 things. One thing, it describes. It describes. For instance, in Aristotle's model, what is said? And a successful communicator can persuade others. That is the gist of the Aristotle's model. Yeah. And in transmission model, the gist is, if the transmission mechanism is good, then message from one point to another point is delivered successfully. Yeah. In Saravanikara model, what is there? If there is Saridayata, you may say common communication environment, then there is chance that the communicating parties, they may be separated by so many things. There may be so many differences. But if the Saridayata can be maintained there, then they can communicate successfully. Not only successfully, they can overcome all the differences, and they can be Saridaya. Different from body, one from the mind, let us say, one from the bhavas and rasas, all these things. So from where we got this? From research. Bharat Muni and Bhartihari conducted research in the society, and I conducted research of their text. From there it came. And while we understand this theory, then we understand what happens. Yeah, the description part first. Second is why it happens, explanation. And the third function is prediction. In provided such and such condition, what would happen? Yeah, it may be in medical sciences, it may be in other social sciences. For instance, someone would say, if there is high rate of unemployment in the country, then political unrest or some kind of revolution is most likely. Yeah, like that. Here we say, if there is there is more commonality to the senders and receivers, then it is highly possible that they could become Saridaya, like that. So how can we predict? If we want to make the nation united, for instance, yeah, then we should emphasize on such values which connects, isn't it? So if we see from this, we can have prediction, and the final thing is control. That means application, to apply this. So how to do that? For example, Mahatma Gandhi, he was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi earlier. He returned from UK. Yeah, he was educated there, but the attire he took, that was much like a yogi, a sannyasi, isn't it? He did it purposefully. With this attire, with that attire, he instantly earned respect from the vast masses, because in Gandhi, they would resemble the yogis, the Santa, the Mahatma, yeah, all these things. And it was much easier for him. And you might have heard his voice. He had a very thin voice. Yeah, there were thousands, even lakhs of people overcrowded in his mass meetings. Hardly people sitting in the first row would have listened him, yeah, properly. But he could communicate all the message he wanted. You can argue whether what Gandhi did and the outcome, whether it is good, bad. There are people I can see through the news channels in India, many celebrate Gandhi, and there are so many who are denouncing him as well. But one fact no one can deny, that he was the master communicator. He was the most successful communicator of his time. So how he could do that? So he associated with salt. Yeah, you can see the Padayatra. marches, all these things, and the attires I said, and all these slogans, all these things. So I'm taking just example. So with this we can see if our theory is well planned, well understood, and well executed, it has impact in the society. So Sadharanikaran model also, since this is rooted to our own civilization, since it is rooted to our own culture, there is much more chances that it would be very useful, very successful for our society.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Shivani Inani. She's asking, as we are all digitally connected and digitally interacting these days, there are certain drawbacks like data security, privacy concerns, social disconnect, etc. How can we overcome these barriers or drawbacks?
Here I instantly remembered a story of Akbar and Birbal. Yeah. So Akbar drew a line and then asked all the people to make it certain, yeah, without even touching this. People got confused. Without touching the line, yeah, how we can make it certain? If we had privilege to touch this, we would erase this part, that part, and it would become certain. Then Birbal came and he drew another line longer than that, and the earlier line obviously became shorter. So there are many people who come up with hue and cries. Yeah, when new technology comes, yeah, it has affected in this way, that way, all these things. It happens in the West as well, in other societies as well. But one thing is certain: when some technology comes, there would be diffusion of innovations. Sooner or later, people would use it. It would be part and parcel of their life. You cannot, for instance, forbid people to use technology, just like Taliban did in Afghanistan. It also did not end for a long time. So people would certainly use it. So we, and while doing so, there is one famous saying: pioneers yesterday, leaders today. Those who pioneered, they certainly become privileged for today. So all these technologies, they were developed by, let us say, the Western societies, Euro Americans. So they are at the privileged end, and this is the fact. But we cannot deny, but we can progress. So if we want to have digital safety, all these things, then we have to fastly learn all these technologies and come up with more advanced technology than theirs. While doing so, at that time, we'll be at the resource end, yeah, and we'll have our data with ourselves. Otherwise, we are writing, we are producing contents, yeah. The people in Facebook headquarters, Insta headquarters, YouTube headquarters, yeah, they Twitter headquarters, they have control over this. And how much powerful they are, you can see. They even barred the then US president by using that. Yeah, it may be good, it may be bad. I'm not analyzing that. Yeah, I'm not taking side of this or that, but I'm taking this instance to see that private companies having control over the technology, they can control virtually everyone in this world. But the way out is not to be, let us say, frightened by that. The way out is to use it smartly, to be media literate, and at the institutional level, let us say at the governmental level, trying to have more advanced technology so that we can be powerful again.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So the next question is from my side. Sir, I'm doing a research on communication through cinema, and I have taken Sadharnikaran model as the base of my study. So I wanted to ask, is nonverbal communication more effective in achieving sahridayata than verbal communication? I'm studying nonverbal communication in cinema.
So your question draws on the Western thinking pattern, the binary system,
Yes.
where they understand generally two options only, on or off. The switch of the electricity, either you can on or off. And sometimes they come up with third alternative, the gray area. But in our part of the world, we think in a different way. Yeah. For instance, in Jaina philosophy, they have Sapta Bhangi Nyaya, 7 alternatives of the truth. And in Hinduism, we have 11 directions, dik. So we have at least 11 alternatives of the truth. Hence, you should not, if you subscribe to our civilizational perspective, you should not start with whether non-verbal communication is more effective than verbal communication. You can think in a different way. They both come in a continuum. They are together. And for certain areas, non-verbal communication has more role, and for certain areas, verbal communication has more role. So Bharat Muni, if you see Natya Shastra, he has not come up with such bifurcation. He comes with the theory of rasa, where the issue is how we expressed. Maybe it is through gestures, facial expressions, maybe through distance, maybe through words, maybe through paintings, maybe through other physical features, maybe through music, all these things. Yeah. But the message becomes unified, and the receiver would get the unified message. It was for the sake of easy understanding. The theorists in the West, they had to approach part by part. Yeah. But in a real communication setting, that does not happen. Yeah, people may have noticed something more and something maybe in background, but whenever you watch a movie, you watch all the things shown on the screen. So this approach of continuum, taking both verbal and non-verbal communication together, and taking the message, taking the visual as a unified message, would be more, let us say, efficient way to conduct your research. This is my suggestion. You may think over it.
Thank you, sir. So that was all for the Q&A session. Over to you, Anu ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor Satish Patel to propose the words of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all those who were directly or indirectly associated in making Prabha a big success. First, I would like to thank Honorable Vice Chancellor Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Dr. Upinder Dhar, sir, for being a big support and motivator for the online conduction of Prabha 2021. A big thank to the conclave chair, co-coordinator, Sri Vaishnav Institute of Journalism and Mass Communication, and Dean FDSR, Dr. Santosh Dhar, without whose constant support and guidance this event would not have been possible. I would like to thank our special guest and speaker for taking out time for their busy schedule and being with us for this event and for sharing their valuable knowledge. We were fortunate to have a wide range of speakers from all different arenas like Nagma Seher, anchor and journalist at NDTV; Rahul Dev, ex-honorary advisor SRI at Lok Sabha; Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari, originator of Sadharnikaran model of communication; Sahir Muli Meghnani, journalist TV correspondent Mumbai; Dr. Sumit Narula, director Amity School of Communication, Gwalior; Sarpriya Sangwan, journalist at BBC Delhi; Shadab Nabi, producer at Times Now, New Delhi; RJ Siddhant, Radio Mirchi, Raipur. We are grateful to all for sparing their valuable time with us. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the master of the ceremony and rapporteurs. Special thanks and congratulations to the convener of the event, Professor Seema Uike, for successful conduction of Prabha 2021. We are thankful to the technical team, Srikant Telang sir and Sadab sir, for conducting smooth event. Last but not the least, thank you to all my dear students for helping us throughout the event. Thank you all. Thank you everyone. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Adhikari ji. We'll be in touch with you again. और हमारे और प्रोग्राम्स में आपको आना है. You have to come.
धन्यवाद. मुझे भी बहुत खुशी हुई. पहले भी मतलब ना आने का कोई इंटेंशन नहीं था, शेड्यूल वैसा था. तो हम एडवांस में अगर डेट्स की बातें करेंगे तो आसानी होगी और मुझे बहुत खुशी होगी.
जरूर जरूर. थैंक यू. धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद.
Thank you all. I now request all to rise for the national anthem, and I request the technical team to please play the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा. विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा. तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे. गाहे तव जय गाथा. जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you. It was a pleasure hosting you for Pravard 2K21, and I hope to see you all again in Pravard 2K22. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. Meeting ended.
Alok sir. So please end the session.